Greetings, everyone. I'm Grandmaster Amin Ra. I'm coming to you from Mombasa, Kenya, and I've been in Africa for 22 years. So I'm often asked the question, how do I survive being from a Black American coming into Kenya? So today I wanted to give a little bit of my story and then talk about a few things on how you can come from America to a modern I came here in 1996 and then there was no internet and it was no real way to do easy communications back home. So I had come basically on a 3-month trip to Kenya, and I was going to stay 3 months until my money ran out, and then go back to the U.S. But that plan changed, and I had decided to stay and try to make some money. Now, one of the things that brothers in the U.S. have to realize when they come into an African country is the exchange rate. The exchange rate favors the United States in a way where if a person from America comes to, let's say, Kenya, if they came with like $400 or $500 or $2,000 to $3,000, their money would basically more than triple in value once they came here. This is because of the exchange rate. And if you're coming for a vacation, that's all well and good because it allows you to live comfortably in hotels and move around to restaurants and go to tourist attractions at a very, very reasonable rate. However, if you're going to be living in the country, then obviously you can't stay at that level, higher standard, depending on the amount of money you're going to use. Now, what I want to talk about today is making Kenyan money. It's like you come here and you're worried about if you can survive or not, or are you going to go homeless? No, you'll never go homeless. But you're worried about how you're going to be able to make money to take care of yourself. Well, in order for that to happen, you have to be realistic, and you need two main points here. First of all, you cannot live like an American in a foreign country, whether it be in Africa or whether it be in China. It doesn't really matter. You cannot live the same way, at the same, I won't say standard, but you can't live the same way. Things have to change because you're in a foreign country. So, in that respect, you can't live above your means. And it doesn't mean like your means, you should not think of your means as what you had in the United States. Your means is what amount of money you can generate in the place where you're at. So I remember when, I started teaching martial arts and that was my few months. I was planning on going back to the U.S. So the money I was making was little. I really didn't even really measure it. But when the realization came that I would be staying in the country longer, then that money became a focus of my serious attention. And my thing was, how can I increase that money? It's a really good feeling when someone in a country, foreign country, gives you money for services, and it's your money. You work for it. So from right there, from the first few shillings I received, I realized that it was possible, and it was only a matter of multiplying the amount of money people giving me, which would be based on the amount of services I could give them that they deemed valuable enough to pay for. And this is what happened when I started teaching martial arts. I had been teaching martial arts in the United States successfully for 10 years. I owned a martial arts school in South Central Los Angeles under the Black Karate Federation, and I grew that one from the smallest school in the BKF to the largest school in the BKF. Although the history books try to rewrite it, there's no denying the fact that we had over 108 active members coming in through the door. One month when I did the when I calculated it. I've not seen any school do that before or since. So on a continuous basis. So I knew I was successful when I came into Kenya, and I knew that the same process would work, once I came here. But what I didn't know is that how well it would work when you come from someplace where you had a lot of competition, and then to a country who never even heard of the martial art that I was teaching. So people were very skeptical, but because it was a good product, it just started to grow and grow like that. Now, one of the things that another thing that you have to really be mindful of when you come to an African country to try to make money here is that you have to let the market drive you. You can't come with American ideas and try to force feed them in Africa. So many people have come with those ideas, thinking that what works in the U.S. Will work in an African country. I've seen so many guys come here thinking like, wow, when the Africans see what I'm producing, they'll like it because of the high quality. And then the venture fails because a lot of times Africans are not interested in the quality. I mean, the quality more than they are interested in the value that they get from the service or the product. Another thing is that what works in the United States may not work in the country. You have to change things around. Even though I had a martial arts school in the United States that was very successful, there were many adjustments I had to make when I brought the service into Africa. To give an example of that is in the United States, my students were paying monthly, and they would basically pay cash. Some few paid checks back then. But when you come here to Africa and you offer a service, when it comes time for people to pay at the end of the month, though they may like the service, it's an entertainment thing. They might be difficult for them to come up with that money around the first or the second day of class. So they don't come to the class, and then they continue that process. So actually forcing them to pay on a monthly basis actually kind of drove people away from the class, as opposed to getting them to be dedicated members. So I came up with this idea of pay per class, where the student would pay per class. He would come with his, at that time it was 10 shillings, and then he could take out the class. This was a phenomenal success because everybody could afford that, and the class grew in size, which made the small amount that people paid even better, because you had a really exciting class full of 40, 50 people. Now, of course, that price rose over the years, but even today, it's still practiced in some of our Kempo clubs. I used it for all the time that I was teaching, and it brought me a lot of success. So even other businesses started venturing into that same concept of pay as you go. And before I came with that idea, that was not there. Shotokan was pretty much struggling. Instructors would come to a location, people would pay them, they would teach them, come the next month. People would either not come to the class or come to class and not pay the instructor. The instructor would kindly teach them for half a month, then abandon the class because he didn't have money and went to another location. So this type of payment system was unique, and it really worked. Where it would not work, maybe in the United States, it may not work. People would want to just pay when they get their money, get their paycheck, and pay all their bills. So you have to be ready to adapt your business to fit the atmosphere and the people that you are dealing with. Now, some of the upper class, some of the martial art clubs I had in the upper areas, the pay per class didn't work. And then I just said, okay, then you pay per month, or you pay every 2 weeks, or you do like that. So now when you come to Africa, of course, you got to get your hustle on. You know, if you're going to have a product that is similar to whatever is already here, you're going to have to hustle that much harder. If you can come up with something that is unique that people want, willing to pay for it, then you know you can probably scale it up and then make money accordingly. But definitely, what I'm talking about is not so much of a rich man's scheme. You know, you can't just depend on it. Like I'm gonna be a millionaire from this. No, you really have to scale it up. And I think that I was one of the people that really took the martial art idea and brought it up to a really high level. So this is some of the things I wanted to talk about. You know, people can super chat them and they can be supportive and they can continue to make videos. But here in Africa, we don't have that. We don't have a super chat. So we have to improvise. And I've come up with an African super chat. So here in the African super chat, you can send money and we can get the money instantly. And you can, you can be given a shout out right in the middle of this. So I'm gonna put it in the comment section, and you just join. You just download an app to your phone, or you join in, then you can just send money. It will come to me instantly while we're talking. We have done it. Works well, and by doing that, you help support this type of information coming directly from Africa. You don't get that many guys coming in with videos that are living in Africa. And we have the actual truth. We've been doing the groundwork. We've actually experienced all of the things that we're talking about. So many times you get brothers that are talking about going to Africa, but they're coming from the United States. What's that? They're talking about going to Africa, but they visit Africa, but they don't live here. So they can't tell you how it is to raise children, how is the school system, you know, how is it small business, how is it top business, what is the real deal with corruption in Africa. You know, here I have all that information and I'm willing to share it with you, but you have to do something for me. Now you don't have to do it, and I know a lot of brothers got that idea where they come up with black people never do that, never pay, and I've heard that a lot. Oh, black people, they want everything free. Ain't nobody gonna pay for your channel. This is a concept and a mindset for the Negro, and we've been Negroes too long. Africa is the only solution to all the problems that we face in America. America has been playing a game with us called Who's Got the Wealth? And they've been keeping the wealth from us since the beginning. And now we've come to realize that we're not going to even be making any money. Come some 20 years from now, there will be no black middle class. And I think that's going to happen in the next 6-7 years. And it's going to happen immediately if there's another downturn in the economy. Everyone can remember that in 2008, we lost 50% of our wealth. And brothers was going around panicking left and right. What am I going to do? How am I going to do? You see, you panic because you didn't know you had this option. You panic because the American system used propaganda that can make you believe that modern Africa was not a viable option for you. You see, you panic because you think like you're in the richest country in the world, and you're not. You know, we cannot make it in America as a people. So how would it be for one individual to make it? You still have to be walking around sleeping with the enemy. So you get a lot of rich blacks that are, they have to go to dinner parties with rich whites because we only own 0.5% of the wealth. So how are we going to go to a dinner that costs like $500 a plate? You see, if a black man does do it, he's going to be in a room full of whites. And this is what I'm saying, that, you can be rich in America if it was possible, but you'd be surrounded by the enemy, And they're the same people that have been playing this game with us, who's got the wealth, are the same people if you got some of the wealth, you have to be dealing with them. Because the higher up you go, the less you see us. So I think that it's important for us to have a game plan, at least not for us, but for our children. And I want to talk about that too. But before I talk about that, I want you guys to really be serious about this. I know you may never have even done super chat before, but if you're on this channel and you want to know, get a good information about an option of moving into modern Africa, which I believe is the best solution and the only solution for all our problems that we have in the United States today, then do something different. This is not money for me. This is money for the cause. This is where you taking a step towards doing, making an option to better yourself, give yourself a little bit of peace of mind that you have an option. So whites can come up to us and tell us, go back to Africa, and then you can look them in the face and tell them, yeah, I'm planning on doing that. And you'll see that their whole demeanor will change, because they believe we are Negroes, and that they believe that we think that America is the only option for us, that we cannot go back to Africa, because they have done such a good job of painting Africa with lies and propaganda to make you think that that's not an option for you. It is the only option. And just as I stated many years ago, to this day, here we are. And what I'm saying is true. It is the only option for us. So, if you're going to have it as an option, then you need to know details. You need the real details from somebody who's actually lived it. Now, I'm here. I'm doing business. I've got jobs. I've got streams of income. I've got a beautiful wife, wonderful family. And I can explain this to you so that if you wanted to make that option, you can think about it knowing that you get some positive information instead of this nonsense of the Chinese is taking over, which is a lie. The stories of, America can run over Kenya. They're controlling things from behind the scenes. These are all propaganda lies. And I'll prove them to you so that you can get a clear and honest view of what's going on here in modern Africa. Modern Africa is booming, and you can be a part of that. And if you can't be a part of it, your children can be a part of it. If you have an inability to make that trip, then you can take your children and bring them here and put them in a boarding school. Now, the boarding school system in Africa and in Kenya especially is very old. 3 generations of Kenyans have all basically, like I would say 80% of Kenyans go to boarding school once they become at the high school level. And this is a great thing, because not only can your child be in a safe environment, completely safe, but he can also learn the culture, make friends that later on could become business partners and give him opportunities in an African country. He can learn the language as well as get a good education. And filled syllabus with this education. What's up, Gregory Wyatt? Thanks for coming in. So this is what I'm saying. And if there are brothers like me, okay, there's not many brothers like me, because I'm IT literate, so I know how to get on the channel and I can do these videos. I'm a public speaker, so I know how to talk and express myself and express these views where people can understand. I know a lot of Kenyans. I'm a grandmaster in martial art. We have over thousands of students that I deal with every day. Most of my friends are Kenyans. So when I talk about the African, then I'm talking to you from the facts. So it's very difficult to find somebody like me to be able to give you this information. Check my record. You'll see I've been an honest guy all along. My Facebook channel has always been open, no privacy marks anywhere. You can go through my pictures and see my life in Kenya for the last 20 years. So someone like me is rare. So when I come up to you and I say, okay, look, I'm just like everybody else here. If I want to do this, I'm doing this with my own money. And of course, that's not a good business model. And so that's why I'm saying you can send $2 or $3, and that money would triple in value to me. So that would inspire me to continue doing this. And it can't, it can't continue if the people are not willing to say show an interest in the information that I'm giving. I'm here. I'm ready to answer any questions that you might have. But you all see what's happening in the United States, and things are at a critical venture, and they can be at a critical venture even in 2008 when the economy went down. We start to move forward on that issue, and then look where we are today. Blacks lost 50% of their wealth, and we're going to continue to lose our wealth if we don't have a plan B. And a plan B is not expensive. It just needs a lot of information to make you feel more comfortable, even if you decide you're going to stay in the United States. So, and this is the whole purpose of what I'm doing here. When I came here 20 years ago, I knew no one. There was no social media. There was basically no internet. So I was able to survive. And I want to keep you the principles so that you can see and you can come to realize that, hey, it's not a jungle out there. Hey, these people are not going to eat me. Hey, these people don't hate me. Hey, I don't have to. I will not go homeless. I will not go hungry if I came to Africa. Hey, if I lose my source of income, can I make another source of income? These are all questions that I'm saying you'll be able to get the truth from. Not only will you get the truth, but I'm gonna give you the evidence. I'm gonna let you talk to Kenyans here. I'm gonna point you in the right direction and show you where you can get the information that is not tainted, full of propaganda. These shows like Dr. Moonbay, they make their living off of negativity about Africa. And this is a sad case because there's a lot of us out there in the United States hoping and wishing that the best option they have is to stay in the United States because it's cheaper, because it's easier, and they think it's safer, but it's not safer. If you go from 300,000 people in prison in 2008 into to 800,000 black men locked up in prison in 2019, then how can you be safe? How can you be safe? Like I said, I want to point this out to you. And the crime rate in the United States has been going down for over a decade. Yet the imprisonment rate is going up. So if the crime rate is going down, yet the imprisonment rate is going to go up more than 60-something%, what does that mean? Think about it for a second. Crime rate down, but imprisonment up. What does that mean? It means that they're locking up, and they have to be locking up innocent people. They're locking up innocent people every which way but loose. And since we are the majority of those people in prison, it's clearly that they're locking up a lot of black people that are innocent. And they're doing that on a wholesale basis. This thing is not slowing down. These are the street and giving police officers secret incentives to get arrested. And police officers are basically out hunting for wrongdoers that are black so that they can stack them up with different types of accuse them of different type of crimes so that they can be caught up in the system. And a lot of brothers I'm telling you, there are a lot of brothers, you just don't realize it. I majored in criminal justice when I was in college, and I know how the system works. Okay, I know how the system works. And I know that how ashamed we feel when we get caught up in the system. We don't want to talk about that. You see? But somebody got to step forward and say, look, until it happens to you, you're just walking on eggshells. And that's why I say modern Africa, you won't have that problem. You won't have a racist problem. Police don't run around in police cars and patrolling the streets looking and hunting for people. People, this is not done here. It's in a peaceful environment. And you can have peace of mind. Your children can be raised in a great atmosphere, a family structured atmosphere. So I see it. I'm living it, and that is why I say I'm gonna make these videos. But I can't make these videos unless you guys do the necessary. I hope you can see. Gregory, can you see this? Is this correct in this, or is it the word? Is the wording opposite? Okay. Yeah. So when you come to Africa for the tour, uh, Dennis has said that he's going to take you guys to the most of the places where you know you're going to live like the traditional. You see, and this is why I'm saying that coming to Africa, you should also do a fact-finding mission. So you should be fact-finding mission to see, okay, look at the look if you're going if you're having a family, you know, you should look at the schools, and if you're having uh, if you want to think about starting a business, you can look at those areas too. Okay, Dwight, I'm saying PayPal account is not instant. You see, when you use Wave.com, this company is SF company is 8 years old. So when you use this, the money will be directly to me like a super chat, and I can put this information on the screen and show who has sent the money. So if you're like weary of sending money, you send a dollar like right now, and then instantly it'll be sent on my phone. Then I'll be able to show you here. So okay, here's Lady E asking about mortuaries. You know, that's a good question. And I can't think of us seeing mortuaries. Most Africans are buried the traditional way. The bodies of Africans that are in the city are taken, 99% of them are taken to their upcountry homes, and then they're buried there. So mortuaries, no, you won't see that here. You'll see mostly the people coming together, family members, maybe they'll collect money, and then they'll ship the body to the upcountry home. They'll have a funeral there, and then they'll bury them in their parents' backyard or their land. And then they put like a cement slab there, and then, you can go out in the backyard, you'll sit with them. So that is the basic structure of how people are buried here. But like my neighbor, I had a neighbor, and I can tell a sweet story. I had a neighbor, and this lady, and she was like one of these ladies that do praying for people. So where I was living at first, she was my neighbor across the way. She used to be praying for people out loud, and I was like, man, this would really irritate me. So I moved, and I moved to a house, and now she moved to the apartment that's behind my house, and she was still praying. So recently she died, and they did a little party thing outside, and they collected money, and then they sent her body back, home. And I put up money like that. I never even knew her name. I just was the lady used to the praying lady. So that was it. There was no if you had to go to the mortuary or anything like that. She got sick, and then she was in the hospital. I heard she was in the hospital. Then the next thing you know, poof, she had died. She was an older lady. But like again, using the PayPal account takes a lot of time, and PayPal still has issues with allowing me to withdraw money here from in Africa. And I wanted to have something that was exclusive for the chat, and that is why I dug this up for you guys. We've been using it. It really works quickly. You really appreciate it. It'll show you the amount of money that will come to me. It'll do the exchange rate for you. You'll be helping a black man's guide. And it's not really money. It's not money for me, but it's really money for the cause. And a lot of times we have this thing where we don't want to give out money to things, but we have to start changing that thinking. Imagine when you do this, you actually can say that you're supporting a trip for Africa. So psychologically, you're doing something towards making their plans come to fruition as far as looking to Africa as a possible solution. So yeah, you guys, I want to see somebody do that. You know, just take the time because we're gonna come on many shows here. I know I'm gonna get someone that's gonna throw me $2. That $2 is like $200 in Kenya. So we're gonna imagine you send me $2, it's like beep, beep, I'm gonna get $200, and I'm gonna put that money right back into the show, and I'm gonna make sure that we have even greater shows like that. Now I'm here at the lab, and where we have controlled conditions. You can hear me nicely. You can, we can talk back and forth. But also, I wanted to do shows outside. I did a show the other day outside. It was a little bit, few problems, but with noise and things like that. But I think you want to see actual people walking down the street, actual Africans. Are they really suffering? And I'm gonna be giving you videos. I'll be giving you videos of that, so you can see that they're everyday people. I'm gonna take you to where we buy our food. I'm gonna take you to my daily life. I'm gonna introduce you to my kids, my family. I want to do all of that so that I can get more and more people to this point that they've been lied to about Africa, and that this is an opportunity of a lifetime. If not for you, it's for your children, because your children can go to school for far less money and get a far better education and be far safer. Your black children can be far safer in an African country. So that's something that I know we don't think about. When my kids got of age, and my woman was telling me you're gonna take them to boarding school, I was dead set against it. I was like, oh hell no. But over time, I lost that battle, and once she was in boarding school, I came to realize the benefits of it. For instance, I got a daughter. She was a teenage daughter, and I used to always take my kids to the beach, and they play in the water. But when my daughter got a little older, I started going in the water, and then I started seeing all these boys start coming around playing with her, like swimming around her. And I'm like, hey, move out, watch out, there's sharks in the water, you see. And I was like, man. So I'm like, shoot, my daughter's growing up now. Boys are, starting to look at her. So I mean, I got to go to work and everything, and there's a lot of teenage pregnancy in the United States. But there's very little teenage pregnancy in Kenya because the girls are taking the boarding school. So that really, the boarding schools are all, of course, the boarding schools are all girls, and then the boys have their own boarding school. So they only can concentrate on their studies. They have to learn how to cook. They have to learn how to work and clean their own, clean their own cubicles, and they get given tasks. Some of these boarding schools are really good, and they've been in business for decades. Some of them have very strong reputations, and you have the American dollar that can afford to put your child in one of the top boarding schools in the country. And she would go then. Your child would then meet and go to school with some of the top income students. They have top income parents, and so from those relationships, you can probably easily get opportunities. They can easily get opportunities for jobs, because in Africa, of course, it's networking, and who it matters. So if your child's in class with, let's say, the daughter or the son of the high commissioner, or of something, or one of the top African businessmen has like his kid there, and your kid become friends with that kid, I think you can see what's going on here. They can build relationships that can help them later down the line. And the fact that your child will be from America, an American, also will give them a lot of prestige and give them self-confidence, as opposed to being black, a minority in a racist country where they would just be subjugated to be nothing. And then the TV shows and the things that go on in the country would just continue to wreak havoc on them. And remember now, if you're a middle income black American, let's just say, I don't know, there's a few of us there, there's a few people that are middle, you are going to have children that are going to be lower middle class citizens economically, because they have told you that this generation is going to be poorer than the previous generation. They have told you that. And so you get prepared for that. And so look at your child. So you're a middle class, you're a middle income person. You got ability to take your kid to a good education, but when they get out into the workforce, they're gonna be struck down to lower middle class. Why is that? Because all the manufacturing jobs was removed to China and Mexico. And Trump is trying to talk about that now, but that ain't no Chinese and Mexicans gonna come from Mexico and China to come here and do work. So how is that going to work? All those jobs are gone. So most of the manufacturing jobs that we had, have been removed long time ago, during the Bush era and before. You see, so when the dollar got off the gold standard, obviously what that meant was that they could afford to do that, change America to a so-called information-based economy, which if there's really such things, and those things have been monopolized by Microsoft and Google. So, and blacks have been marginalized out. So if you've ever had to go hunt for a job and you had to find a job whichever way job you can, I don't know what it's like, but I know that there's brothers that can be going to a job that's office work and to apply for that job and go interview for that job and say, I can do office work, I can do office work, I can do office work. And then the next thing you know, they go to another job where they're doing sales and marketing and I can do that, I can do that, I can do that. We just have to try to bend ourselves to the wheel. But this is what happens when you're in an economy that is changing like the United States economy has changed. So here in Kenya and modern Africa, the economies are growing at such a fast rate. There's opportunities in a lot of fields you can almost pick and choose. So, and then you can probably benefit from it. But I want to get in here and talk more about the business side of moving to Africa. Let's say, like I said earlier, I came to Africa and I had no money. I had money, but I was like only 3 months worth of money. And when the money ran out, I was to go back to the United States, but I didn't again decide to stay. So what happened to me was I would start teaching martial arts to people, to the local people around, and they really loved the martial art. And one day I was in class and I was telling them, okay, well, next 2 weeks I'll be leaving. And the look on their faces was like a total depression. I mean, they just changed. We were doing well, and then all of a sudden I mentioned that I was going to go back to America, as if I thought everybody realized I wasn't going to just stay there forever. And then they just went into a depressed mode, right in the middle of my class. And then one of my senior students, who I had become close with, just turned around and looked at the group and said, "You see, that's what they always do. They always come and go. They never stay." So being the type of person I was, I said, okay, well, I'm going to change that. I decided to go from 3 months into 1 year where I could create black belts to continue the art in Africa. And it was a good idea to me at the time because I was like, I can go back to America after a year and then come back 2-3 years later and then I see my art flourish. And that was the plan. But by the time after like the 5th, 6th month, I was hooked. It was like, man, why am I going to go back home for? I started looking at the life I had, seeing how people, responded to me. It was wonderful. The weather was great, so, that's what happens when you come here. When you first come, you feel like, you think like you're an American and you feel like these people are beneath me. But after some time, when you start living here, you start getting into the culture and you'll be like, damn, this is perfect. Wow. How could I even think about leaving? Now, of course, what came with that was the fact that I made a phone call home. And when I made a phone call, I was like, what's going on at home? Because I'm trying to think of make my decision and see should I go right back now or should I go wait, So I'm calling home, what's going on at home? And then my family is like, nothing. And I'm like, man, I would have spent all that money for a plane ticket to go back home. And then I would have been in the morning, wake up at my family members would go to work and I'd be sitting there watching soap operas all day, talking to no one. You see, then they come home in the evening, they're too tired. You see, they want me to spend my money to go take them places, because I'm from the African country, that it's like it wouldn't have worked. And so I used my money that I had saved up for my plane ticket and went to visit 6 African countries, including South Africa, where I lived there for 4 months. And it was the best thing that ever happened. I'll never, if I had all over to do it again, I wouldn't change a thing, and I recommend it. When you come here, some people may say, I'm saying Kenya is better than Ghana because it's more developed, and then you can get a handle on things here. And if you from here, you can make a base, and then you can go to other countries and see. You might change your mind. You might decide you want to go live in Ghana, or you might want to live in Malawi, or you might want to live somewhere, or Rwanda, or Uganda. You see, there's so many options, and with the free trade agreement that's coming, it's going to be even easier, and it's going to be even a lot more money. And I want to make a video on the African free trade area that is going to be created in a few months from now, where all African countries are going to start trading with each other seamlessly without borders and tariffs. And this is going to eventually bring us to an African passport, and then it's going to eventually bring us to African money. Africa knows that they have to unite in order to be powerful. The Berlin Conference separated us into all these different countries. It was the European that did that. And by keeping us separated in different countries, that made us weak. And when you come to Africa, you can see borders, but you can see there can be Bantu on this side in Kenya, and there be Bantu that speak the same language, same cultures, same tribe in Uganda and in Tanzania. So people don't really follow that. So I think that that's going to be a beautiful thing, and I can't wait to see that. You're going to see some growth in Africa that's just going to knock your socks off. So I'm going to end this video now, and let's say anybody has a question in the chat room, you can talk to me, and I'll be glad to answer any questions. But again, I want to close in saying, take the time. Take the time. I know you get a lot of people that do you wrong. I know you can put money in things, and then I know that there's a psychological thing in there that tells you don't trust black people. But I ain't black, man. I'm African, and I'm in Africa, and I'm your black man's guide to visiting and moving in Africa. And trust me, I have saved so many people so much money. They come to Africa and they want to. These guys are taking me to an apartment in Yali. And I'm like, how much money you have for your 2-week stay? I have this amount of money. I'm in. Okay, then you don't want to go there because you're going to use all your money up in an area where you'll be it'll be a standard that is really too high. You can come here and you can spend 1/3 that amount, still be happy. And so say that person a lot of money, they were able to go to places and be free, and they were around a lot of African people. So it was a great thing. And this is just an example of how, if you have the proper information from somebody that you can trust, then you can save money, and you can not waste a lot of time getting into the realities of the beauty of living here. And that's what I wanted to help people with. So in order for me to do that, I need some support. I need to see some support from people. I want to see who's going to be the first one. Go to www.wave.com. Here's the phone number. If they ask you for a contact name, you can put this one, or you can put Professor Amin Rod, but people did that and they said it didn't work. So it's an instant way to send money. The apps are available on Google and Apple phones. And I know they got a new Apple phone that costs like $1,000, and they're pricing it right. They don't even care about black people. They're making phones for $1,000. How can we afford that now? See, America is changing. It's a land that's going to be for the rich and the powerful, and the people that are not rich and powerful, you're just going to be servants. And we need to get away from that, because we've been suffering too long already. And I can't see my son telling me, Dad, I got to go to work the white man's way for me to come there and shine his shoes. No way. We got our own continent. We got our own language. We got our own place to stay. And we need to start thinking like that. You should stop thinking like we're African Americans. We're not nothing like that. We're Africans in America. And when you face the majority people in America that don't look like you, you can hold your head up high, as opposed to holding your head down with your hands out, hoping and praying that they give you something. This is the type of person that many racist Americans, they want blacks to be in this subservitude position. And this is why they keep us ignorant about modern Africa and try to hope that we would never go there and live there. And so, if you ever have had experienced racism in your life, then it's nothing you can do about that at the end of the day. But there is something you can actually do. You can actually invest in someone, get a plan B, and say, look, I put money in for the Black Man's Guide, and I'm getting information about moving to Africa. And you might find somebody who wants to go with you, and you guys can join together. So getting the right hotels, getting a proper plane fares, getting the proper transportation costs, getting the understanding of the money before you even come here. This is all something that I can do for you easily. But unfortunately, you're living in a land of confusion for Black people. And so therefore, when you see something like this, you go, oh, that guy wants some money. Oh, there go another guy wants some money, And unfortunately, that's the case with a lot of us. But we're living in dangerous times now. And I'm not the one making these things up about Blacks not having income, having a zero income. I'm not making this up that Blacks are imprisoned. I'm not making up that racism is an all-time high. I'm not making gentrification up. I'm not making homosexuality and gayism up. These are things that are happening to you guys right now. And I'm sitting back and I'm watching and I'm like, let me just continue to give them information so that they can at least say there's another option. And the more you work on the option today, then the better you'll be prepared just in case something happens. So go on over there and send me $2. I'm waiting to see my phone ring right now. Bing, 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 bing. And then I can look and tell you this is the person who just sent the money. If not, I'm going to put that in the comments section so that we can see it for the next video. Otherwise, for me, I'm going to call it a minute. And I look forward to talking to you guys again. Thanks for the comments in the chat. And let's do that so we can talk soon. Thank you.